Hey guys, so it's halfway through eighth week, final week of Michaelmas, before we go home for Christmas. And this week I want to focus on the modern languages interviews because obviously people will be coming from Sunday, I think it is, and I know how nervous you will all be for the interview. So I'm going to explain my experiences and what you can expect roughly from the interview process. Okay, so when I applied to Oxford, I applied to Magdalen College because I'd done the unique summer school in the summer between year 12 and year 13, and the tutor from Magdalen actually ran all of the German events, and so that's how I picked my college choice. Now, I remember I arrived at Magdalen, I think it was the Wednesday um, of at the beginning of December, and what what we were told was because I just applied for German, I'd have to do an interview in German and one in linguistics, just because all candidates have to have two interviews at least at the college that they apply to. So I had a one in German with the tutor that I'd met at the summer school and the kind of language teacher at Magdalen. And what I was given, usually for all the interviews, you're given about 20 minutes to 30 minutes to prepare the piece that you'll talk about in the interview. And for Magdalen, I was given a newspaper article on children's TV shows. And weirdly enough, we got a dictionary, which I didn't get in any of my other interviews. And we just had to like analyze it. And there was some questions at the bottom about certain words and what would you use this context, and it was we had to summarize the passage and contextualize it, and this actually it all kind of fed into one of the papers that we did for prelims. So often they can ask you on things that you'll be studying in the first year, but obviously they don't expect you to have any prior knowledge. It's just to show how your way of thinking is, and I think that's the most important thing about the interviews, is that it's about these interviewers seeing if you're suitable for how Oxford works, because you could be someone who gets 10 A stars at A level. I know, a bit exaggerated, but you're just not suitable for Oxford in the sense that you just don't work in the tutorial system. And so it's kind of, interviews are really focused on how you think. It's not just about what you can regurgitate from a textbook. It's about exploring something completely new and building your own ideas, and that's especially true for languages degrees, where a lot of it is literature. At Oxford, it does balance out 50-50, but literature is a very significant part of the degree, especially once you get past prelims. Okay, so as well as that, I remember in the Magdalen interview, I was also given a poem to analyse, and that was kind of more similar to what I got in all of the other interviews, because I actually got interviewed at Magdalen, then Somerville, then St Hilda's, then St John's, with St Cat's in the same interview. So obviously, in that light, what I want to stress is if you get pooled, it doesn't mean anything. You might still be in your first choice. It's just to make the system as fair as possible. Somerville was my second interview, and I still interviewed for another three colleges after that. So it's got absolutely nothing to do with it. And really, you get used to the interviews and they can become quite fun. And I mean, otherwise you're just going to be sitting around Oxford doing not very much. So you may as well get interviewed at a few colleges and have a little bit more fun with it. So at Somerville as well, I got given a prose text. St Hilda's, I was given a poem, which was actually in the first year exam as well. So once again, as I said earlier, testing you on stuff that you'll be studying in the next year. As you would expect, there is some expectation to speak in the target language. I remember there was a lot in Magdalen about the passage in German, and then in Somerville I was asked about literature that I'd read in German, and that was quite good because and I know a lot of exam boards do this, for the A2 course you have to study a literary text, make a play or a novel, and so it's you can bring in stuff you've learned at A level, which is to be expected, but Yeah, so you can prepare to an extent, but you can't completely tailor an interview to what you've revised because it is about being given something completely different and seeing how you can work with it. As I said earlier, in each of my interviews, you get two interviewers at a time. Usually, in 99% of cases, it's the tutor who would be teaching you. And it's quite interesting because because I got interviewed at so many colleges, when I go into lectures, it's usually someone that interviewed me as well. So it's quite weird thinking, oh yeah, like 2 years ago, I was being interviewed for a place here, and now you're lecturing me. So, although a lot of people only come to Oxford for 1 or 2 days, I was here for quite a while. I was here, I think, for about 4 days, which is quite a long period. And you've got to remember that these interviews can last only about 40 minutes each, maybe even less than that. I can't really remember because it was like 2 years ago now. But there is a lot going on within college. There's student helpers at every college, and they can help you through directions to other colleges if you need to go to them. And they're always around college to ask about any questions if you need any help about anything at all. And as well as that, there's kind of ends things going on, which means where there's trips to like ice cream parlours around Oxford, movie nights, board games. I know Somerville's just kind of updated all of the facilities in terms of board games for interviews. Um, and yeah, you get to know a lot of people because all of your food is paid for as well, so you can go to hall and you can get to know other people, which I think is really important because although you think a lot of people don't get in, people do also get in here. And so it gives you a head start in Freshers Week where you can go up to someone and you can be like, oh yeah, I met you at interviews. And although my friend and I were both kind of pooled to Somerville, we met, I think it was the first night of Freshers, and it was just like, oh my god, we both got into Somerville. It was really strange. I mean, and I'm still like really, really good friends with her now. And one more tip that I've really got is on the last day of it, that say you'll be able to leave. I mean, they tell you can leave from midday, and if they need to do any last minute interviews, I think they have to be over by about 1 p.m. But my train wasn't until 4 p.m. And you can imagine how tedious that wait was, having to wait 3 hours just to get a train home. That was another four. So personally, it's a weird tip, but I think just don't think, oh yeah, I need to be in Oxford for all the last day. Don't book such a late train home because it really is annoying when you just kind of want to get home after having quite a. They're draining, the interview stage is draining, so yeah. Um, but fun as well because you do engage in these really good discussions with people who are the most the most informed in the world really about your subject area, and even if you don't get in, just take that as an experience. You've done as well as you have anyway just to get past the stages of personal statements. And yes, about personal statements, I was asked about the literature that I'd put on that I'd read, and I was also asked if I'd been to Germany, and it seems like a lot of people were as well. So it might be useful to like think about how you could articulate your past trips to the countries of the target language that you're applying for. So, okay, so I just want to finish off with a few really general tips which I would recommend for the interview process. So, first of all, it's obvious don't panic if you feel like they've gone awfully. I mean, I feel like some of mine went quite well, and some of them didn't go as well. And I think in the end, it's quite surprising which ones seem to have gone better because I remember when I was doing a couple of my interviews, I just didn't seem to be engaging with the text. But in the end, it turned out all right because I'm here now, and so um, it's not always about getting the right answers. It's just about how your thought process is and how you've approached a certain question that you've been asked. As well with that, keep calm and take time with questions. You don't have to give an immediate answer. It's about probing a discussion and it's about thinking through the problem before just blurting out something completely random when you could have come up with something 10 times better 10 seconds later. The interviewers understand the pressure and they are real people. They might seem like they are the most amazing people in the world because of how knowledgeable they are, but they will sympathise with how kind of pressurized it is and how stressful it is because really you're still halfway through your A levels, you're still developing as an academic, and so they can't expect you to be the best. That's why you come to Oxford, to grow and to be stimulated academically. Um, as well as that, just take it in your stride and treat it like an experience. Even if you don't get an Oxford in the end, you've done as amazingly just getting an interview. There's so many steps to an Oxford application, and so getting an interview is good enough. There are many other amazing universities out there, the Russell Group, and you can always apply next year if you want to. As well as that, as I said earlier on in the video, make as many friends as you can, because it really does give you a head start in freshers. With me not going to Somerville for interview, I didn't know anyone when I came here, but I can't imagine myself being anywhere else. So college choice just doesn't matter. Even if you go to college and don't particularly like it because it's not as Oxford as you thought, you'll still love wherever you end up. You really build a relationship with the people and the college, because it becomes one big community. Um, and most importantly, just enjoy Oxford. Go out and see things. Cornmarket Street will have all the Christmas trees, all the decorations up, and it's really festive. And I remember thinking, it was winter, it was cold, but it was one of the best experiences, because you're away from home and you can feel the independence already, and it kind of gives you a taste of what life could be like, even if it's not Oxford you move to, somewhere like London, anywhere really. Um, so yeah, good luck with the interviews. Please do ask any questions that haven't been answered in the video, either by the Facebook or on the comments below. So yeah, best of luck to all applicants out there. Have an amazing Christmas. This is my vlogging done for this term, but I will be back next term to talk about about the next chapter of my Oxford career. So thanks for watching, everyone. Bye.